What's up, guys? I'm not even sure where to begin with this. This is going to be a pretty raw, unedited, just long form video. My first YouTube video I'm pushing out, so we'll see how this does. But I guess this is going to be a long yap session. Um, Really, why trading, why you should get into trading, what the benefits are, and I guess opposed to other different businesses you can get into. Like, I was literally just scrolling on my Snapchat memories, and here, I'll even show you this. I used to chart on the Apple Stocks app, and this is from May 12, 2020, if you could see it right there. But that's when the journey started. I used to every morning I'd wake up, I'd literally just go on the Apple the Apple charts when you get an iPhone, the stocks app that's included on the app. That's what I used to chart on. I don't even know what I used to do, but we all start somewhere. Why trading? I mean, my journey since 2020 has been crazy. First 2 years, I was literally watching probably the worst content possible. I don't want to say who, I don't want to call them out, but I was watching some pretty sub tier content. Pretty sure it was Sport and Resistance, but didn't really learn much from there. Lost a lot of money on that. I didn't get into it seriously. I was just watching it, trying to get into it in the basics, but not too much there. 2 years on that. Like 2 years is a lot of time. Imagine spending a lot of time just focused on one thing that in turn did not work because you were on the wrong path. Um, that's a lot of time I did waste. And throughout losing money, I'd always feel like, why me? Why am I losing money? What am I doing wrong? And I felt like I was just going down this deep dark hole. And I locked into trading like 2022 and to 2022, 2023. Really started taking it seriously. Like I had a bunch of experience from 2020 to 2022 ish, just trial and error, figuring out what works and what didn't work. And that's kind of what gave me like an upper edge compared to a lot of other people because I had so much time spent just knowing what not to do in trading. But so many people get into trading with the mindset like, I'm going to make money right now. I'm going to make money in my first 10 days. Like, the only time you can really make money, like right off the bat, is if you're using like a signal service or following other people's trades or just stuff like that. Like, that's the only time you're going to make money in trading, like right off the bat. But for me, it was like 2 years learning the wrong education. That's why one of the biggest things I say is I'm not against courses. I'm not against any of online info. There's a lot of free info on YouTube, like what I'm going to be putting out with this series. But mentorships are like really beneficial because if you can learn from someone that went through everything for multiple years, what works, what doesn't work, they have a strategy in the market, they have an edge, good win rate, good RR. If they're teaching you one on one personally and actually spending time, that in my opinion is a lot better than a course because a course you're just getting like videos, and with a mentorship you're actually getting one on one help. This person's putting time, they're literally investing into you. So enough yap on that. Getting back into why trading. People get into trading because they just want money. But instead of money, it's like you can work for yourself. You can really turn something out of this. Like my passion is money. I'm starting up a fund right now. It's one of the biggest things I'm working on, and I love working with money. I love managing money. So my dream is to use investors' money. It's like kind of think of it like a hedge fund, or not really a hedge fund, like a prop firm, but real life capital that you're managing for investors. So enough on that. Like why trading? People get into trading to make money, obviously, but I think the biggest thing is like time freedom, financial freedom. Like people get into trading and they want to be able to just trade like from their laptop, from their phone, wherever they are. Like some people trade in, they go on a trip, they trade in like New York, they trade in Bali, they trade in Dubai. That's the beauty of it because you don't have to show up every single morning, clock in with your boss, go to work from 9 to 5, come back, and repeat that every single day and only have Saturday, Sunday off. What people do in trading is they show up when they want. If they see, let's say they show up 9:30 a.m. Eastern, New York Open, trade for 2 hours, see a setup, they take it, they execute. That's pretty much their work day, and then they can spend the rest of the day doing whatever they want. But that's one of the benefits. That's time freedom, money freedom, location freedom. That's one of the biggest things. You can trade from anywhere, like I said. But why don't people succeed in trading? That's another thing I'll go over. Like it's really mentality. Like let's say you have a really good strategy. Let's say you are one of the most successful high edge people in the market, and you have a really good strategy. It works, and at the end of the day, if you don't have a good mentality, like you're cooked. Like I say, strategy trading is 20% strategy, 80% mentality. If you're, let's say, outside of trading, you have a terrible diet, you eat like crap, You go to sleep at 3 a.m. and wake up at 9 for trading, 30 minutes before open. And you hit the gym 3 times a week after eating a cheeseburger and feeling guilty about yourself. It's going to reciprocate in trading because you feel like subconsciously, if you can't control your diet, if someone offers you a bar of chocolate and you know you shouldn't be eating it, if you say, you know what, this one time, yeah, sure, I'll have that. In trading, it's almost the same thing. Let's say you see a setup, it has 3 of your 6 confluences that you're always required to wait for as your rules. And let's say you say, okay, this one time, you know what, I'll take it. Like you just accepted a chocolate bar. Subconsciously, you're going to think it's fine, and then boom, what happens? You get stopped out, you lose money. And if you're not a disciplined trader, odds are you are going to lose the next trade, then double down to make back your loss, lose the next, and boom, account's gone. And that just leads down to a deep, dark spiral path. And when I first started out, I mean, that's kind of what I went through. I would lose trades. I'd double down my risk. Like, think of it like a losing a blackjack hand. I'd lose and I feel like, oh, I have to make this back. That's the worst mindset you can have. You don't make back your losses. As a trader, you just minimize your losses. You don't get as many wins as possible. But I double down and I lose the account. So I guess that's me leading into another point. Like, you need to control your losses. Like I said, as a trader, you don't want to just get as many wins as possible because that could be a mentality like, oh, I'm going to take 6 trades a day. Like for me, mine's one and done. If I take a loss, I am done for the day. If I take a win, I'm done for the day. That's because if I take a win, I don't want to give money back to the markets. If I take a loss, I don't want to spiral. But people really, really, really just, they can't lock in on trading. And this is one of the biggest reasons. They treat it like it's a casino, like it's gambling. You need to treat it like a business. Like I personally know traders that in the morning, they wake up an hour and a half, 2 hours before market open. They drink their coffee, they go to the gym, they eat a nice big breakfast, and then they put on a suit. Now, some of you might think that's a little too much. Wearing a suit, going to the markets just to sit down at your desk. But the reality is you need to treat it like a business because at the end of the day, trading is a business. It's not a hobby. It's not a leisure. You show up and you work. Let's say you have 4 years of market experience that you're putting to use in the charts every morning. That's 4 years of a skill that you crafted and you mastered. And you're putting your skill to the test every single day. So why would you not show up and take it seriously? When you go to work and let's say you have an attire or like a dress code, are you going to wear what you want or are you going to wear what the position requires? You're going to wear what the position requires. So think of it like that with trading. When you're going to a job interview, when you're going to a business meeting, you're most likely wearing a suit and you're showing up to look professional, right? So it's the same thing. You need to dress like how you want to feel. You need to feel professional. Another thing is please, 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 please do not strategy hop in trading. That's one of the biggest things I can say will kill you in trading. If you think, let's say you're doing supply and demand for a week, obviously every strategy, I'm not saying won't work, but every strategy to a point, if you have an edge in the market, it's a good mentality, will work. If you're strategy hopping, let's say you do supply and demand for 5 days, you don't see success, it's 5 days. When people are forward testing, back testing, using data, live data, past data, they're using usually a year's worth of data to find an edge in the markets with a strategy. If you're testing 5 days worth of data, you can go on a 5 day losing streak, and then what happens? You think it's the worst strategy ever. You can go on a 5 day winning streak, and you could think it's the best thing ever. So you put all your money into it, and boom, everything's gone. Do not strategy hop. That's what I used to do. I literally would strategy hop. I'd see something work, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is so good," and then it would fail, and I'd be like, "Okay, I guess it's just saturated. It doesn't work anymore." It doesn't get saturated. Like, I had the worst mentality with everything, but go into trading and actually stick into it with on strategy. Like I know so many people that I've personally tried to help. They would try one thing, it wouldn't work, and I kid you not, they would just go into the next thing within the next day, within the next week. Like here, this is one thing I'll show you. Another Snapchat memory from May 2020. I literally have patterns right there that I'd print out and put on my desk and be like, okay, if I see this, I'm gonna take this. I don't know what any of this means now. I completely cut it out of my trading. But when I used to see this and it stopped working, you know what I'd do? I'd go to the next pattern and I'd be like, okay, this one's not working. Go to the next. I'd find something that works. And then once that works, I'd double down on that and just go all in on that. And then boom, one day it just wouldn't work. I'd be like, account gone. So that's one of the biggest things. And now, right now, I have a proven strategy that works for me. I have a great edge in the market, great win rate, great RR. If I take, let's say, like, I remember over the summer I had like a five in a row losing streak or something. It was like 2, 3 weeks almost, what's the last thing I did? Did I think of switching my strategy? Did I think of removing a confluence? Did I think of quitting trading completely? No, because I know with my strategy is data backed and I know that it works no matter what I do. I know even if it's just a little bad slump, I've had slumps that were good on the other side of the slump. I've had days where when I was like intraday trading a lot, I'd have 3 wins in one day. I had months where I'd have maybe like 2 losses and like 7 wins, and like that's an amazing win rate. And that's basically it. Like, do not strategy hop. The moment you strategy hop is the day you're basically telling yourself you're quitting. Listen to this. Here, I'll give you another example. If you're starting a business, let's say you're starting a business in chiropractic. Let's say you're starting a chiropractic business. Within 7 days of opening your offices, are you going to quit if you have no customers? Or let's say a customer comes in and he doesn't like the experience, so he leaves a bad review on Yelp. Are you going to go to that customer? Are you going to yell at him? Or are you going to try and remediate things with him? There's a reason he probably left a bad review, but that's besides the point. Let's say you have 2 customers within a week. Are you going to be like, oh, you know what? I need to open a dentist's office now? No, you don't have qualifications doing dentistry. You're a chiropractor. So why would you switch industries? Just because you think it's too saturated, just because you think it doesn't work? That's not how anything works. It's the same thing with trading. Like I said, trading's a business. So why would you show up unprofessional? Why would you show up tired, no sleep, everything, feeling terrible because you didn't eat, feeling terrible because you didn't hit the gym? It's just it all comes down to that. But at the end of the day, do not strategy off. That's one of the worst things you can do. I'm literally scrolling through my Snapchat memories right now too. Like, look at this. This is what my chart used to look like. And just to show you guys proof, look, May 13, 2020. I don't know if it's hard for you to see. My chart literally had lines everywhere. Like, what is this in trading? Like, your mentality in trading, you want to keep everything as simple as possible. Like, when I first started, like, as you can see in that chart, I was probably one of the most undisciplined traders ever. I thought, like, obviously before I learned the proper strategies, before I put an edge together in the market and learned from me what works and what doesn't, I was taking in every little piece of information possible. Every little YouTube video that mentioned something. Let's say strategy A was video number 1, strategy B was video number 2. Even though they were separate things, I'd mush them together and combine them, even though they had nothing to do with each other. And I just spiral off of that. Like, it's crazy looking back. Like, it's been 4 years already, and look at where I started and look at where I am right now. Like, literally, red charts is what I started at, lines everywhere. It's crazy. Like, you can make so much progress. You just need to, like, you really, really need to lock in. You need to tell yourself, like, I can do this. Like, I literally keep a journal right here. Every trade goes in here, and everything I manifest, I put in this book right here, in this journal. And I really think that's beneficial for everyone in trading. If you're journaling trades, if you're writing what you want, your goals, anything, write it down on paper. I don't care if you say, oh, I'm going to write it down on my notes app on my phone, and maybe every week I'll like take a look at it and remind myself. No, stop. Write it on paper so you're reminded every single day you look at this. Actually, better yet, if you want, frame it on your wall anywhere you want, or even get a whiteboard and put it right on your desk, like just right on the side. Look at it every day in trading. Like for me, I have at the top right of my charts, I have my username at the top, and then I have 3 things that I remind myself every day: patience, discipline, and fearless. I have patience waiting for a trade. I'm fearless when I'm not scared to enter a trade. So I'm not going to be like, oh, I just took a loss. I probably shouldn't enter this trade, even though it's A+. And discipline, I'm very disciplined on the charts. But one of the biggest things for me is talking about discipline. I know I'm yapping a lot, but this is a lot of sauce I'm dropping for you guys. I'm disciplined outside of trading in every single aspect. I go to sleep at a certain time. I wake up at a certain time. If I'm not awake at a certain time before market open, I'm going to feel sluggish, and I probably won't perform good and trade good. Like, you have to think of this like it's a sports event. Like you're playing for the LA Lakers. Like, are you going to show up every day if you're tired, you're running on 3 hours of sleep? How do you think you're going to perform in front of all of those people? So that's discipline. For me, I have a great sleep schedule. My eating, I follow a strict diet. I eat all natural foods, but that doesn't matter. People, you need to follow a strict plan, I guess you could say. It's not about how much you eat, what you eat. Obviously, it's better to eat healthy food, But it's all about the discipline. If you write down you're gonna eat 10 cheeseburgers a day, like obviously don't do that, please. It's terrible for you. But if you write down you're gonna eat 10 cheeseburgers a day and you follow that, that's discipline. Obviously, it's different because it's not healthy food, but you get what I mean. And for me, it's also being very disciplined and consistent in the gym. One of the biggest things you want to do outside to subconsciously train your mind to be able to trade is you want to be consistent in everything you do. Because if you see your setup form, you want to be consistent to be able to tell yourself up here, oh, that's the setup I should be taking. You'll follow consistency on that. You'll have a consistent RR. You have a consistent win rate. But for me, I go to the gym 6 times a week, usually 1 day rest day. And even though I'm feeling terrible, what if I wake up, I'm like, oh, I'm really tired from yesterday. I don't care. I'm still going to hit the gym. I'm still going to go and I'm going to push myself. I do cardio for 15 minutes, hit my lift, sauna after. Boom, that's my consistent lift day. And then I'll take one rest day a week. But combining all that, proper eating, proper sleep, proper diet, proper gym, proper everything, keeps me consistent to be able to subconsciously look at the charts and feel disciplined. Because if I don't see a proper setup, I'm not taking it. I don't care if I'm missing a win for the day. I don't care if I'm missing the biggest 1,000 point move that's ever going to happen in trading. I don't care. At the end of the day, my goal is to minimize losses as a trader. Like I said, not get as many wins as possible. So if I'm doing my best at that, I don't care. I'm following my plan. I'm happy with that. And like I've sat out of so many trades just in the past few years because it wasn't my setup. And yes, it might have ran, but there are so many setups in trading that run without you. Even if you follow your plan, you don't get failed, it runs without you. Okay, you move on. But if you force a setup and it goes with it, let's say you're like thinking of forcing a setup and then you don't take it and it goes without you, you're probably like, oh, I just missed one of the best trades ever. It wasn't the best trade ever. It wasn't even your setup. But what if you wait, you don't take that trade, you sit out, and then it ends up going to stop you out if you were to be in it. Like you'd be so happy, you'd be proud of yourself if you followed your plan. I guess the last thing I'll lead into is social media. Like you guys know, I run a social media. I have a pretty good Instagram following. I get decent views. What is one of the biggest things I tell every beginner trader? Do not use social media. Like so many of my students that I've personally talked to, personally helped, one of the biggest issues that they've all had is going on social media. Like let's say Twitter. You see some big Twitter guys, they hit like $10,000 in a day on a win. But this student, I'm not gonna say any names, obviously, would be like, oh, um, why did I lose but this person won? They cut the right side of the market and I cut the wrong side. But then I forced another trade and lost, but then they took a second trade and won. Social media is one of the worst things for you in trading. Comparing yourself to other people. Like personally for me, I've been trading 4 years and I'm making money in trading now. First 2 years, 1.5 years, and I don't even know what I'm saying. Under 2 years. First 2 years, I was not making money in trading. And was I comparing myself to others? Yeah, I actually was. I'd be looking at all these big, big people like Lambo Raul. Shout out him. He's a great trader. I look at people like that. He's making millions in trading a month. And then I look at myself. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Compare yourself is one of the worst things because you start going down a path where you're like, they're making so much. Why am I not? But listen to this. There's people that compare themselves to me in trading, even though at some point it was me comparing myself to others when I wasn't doing good in trading. That's the one thing you should not do because there's people that make money in trading and there's people on social media that show that they are even though they might not. Like on Twitter, it's terrible. That's one of the worst things. Like I don't even use Twitter just because of how toxic it is. But I'm not trying to get banned or anything by saying that. But do not compare yourself to other people in trading. There's personally people I know that took 6 months to start making money, get a few payouts, become profitable. And there's people that took 2 to 3 years. Everyone has that clicking moment. And I know it's cliche. Everyone says that clicking moment. But what it means by the clicking moment is the day like you get pissed off at yourself. You like start beating yourself up and you're like, I need to finally lock in and stop making the same mistakes. Like I tell my students all the time, if you take a loss, it's a loss if you can never learn from that. A loss is a win if you learn from it as a lesson and you never repeat that same mistake. Like, let's say I took a loss and I'm like, oh, you know what? I realized why I took that loss. Cool. I'm paying $500 to the markets to learn a lesson that now I know what to not repeat. But if I take a loss, I lose $500. I'm like, you know what? Why did I take that loss? And I keep making that same mistake. I'm like, okay, another 500 gone, another 500 gone. That's 1,500. I keep paying to the markets. That's when it's an L because you cannot fix yourself. You cannot learn that mistake. They're going to keep repeating over and over and over again. That's a loss right there. But when you realize what it is and not repeat it in the future, that's a lesson that I would pay for any day. I don't care how much, $500,000, whatever I'm paying to the markets. Once I know what that is to not repeat it in the future, that's great. But that's one of the things I tell my students all the time, because you just don't compare yourself to other people too. Because like I said, people are profitable in 6 months, people are profitable in 2 years. It all comes down to your mentality and how you're able to handle things in trading. Because like I said, people with a strong mentality are people that grow it outside of trading, opposed to people that grow it inside of trading. Like, obviously statistics are different, everyone's different, there's a bunch of data on this, but people that are strong with their diet, gym, eating, sleeping, you're going to come into the market stronger than the people that are trying to just fix their discipline and mentality in trading. Like, your body, your mind is very strong, and you have to train it in all aspects to be able to control it within trading. Because, like I said, if you eat well, you sleep well, you hit the gym well, you're gonna show up in the markets and be disciplined. Like, if someone hands me a candy bar, I'm slapping my hand. I'm saying no, I'm good, because I know at the end of the day I should be eating good food. Same thing with trading. If my hand is hovering over my mouse, I'm like, okay, I'm about to take this trade. I slap myself. Obviously, I don't do this, but I'll slap myself and I'll say, you know what? I should not take this trade. But that was a pretty long yap sesh. This is gonna be a fun series, I think, because I'm gonna give you guys basically the ins and outs of my entire strategy, what I do every day, what I'll even do my mentality videos, like what I'm thinking when I take a loss, what I'm thinking when I take a W. But this is gonna be a fun series because you guys are gonna see everything I do with my strategy, and I've made it pretty simple, especially with my swing trading strategy. I have a document and everything. You guys have probably seen that on my Instagram. But this is gonna be fun. Definitely looking forward to recording. I'm thinking maybe like a 14, 15 video series, but this is the introduction, just getting you guys like kind of learning about like how I started, basically the ins and outs of trading, why you should trade, why you shouldn't trade. But definitely looking forward to this.